Alright, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to take this door out and we'll get a couple measurements to make sure our opening is right. If chances are, what I've already measured, I have to plane both sides down to get the right size opening for any adjustments. And once we get the sides planed, we'll build the frame, we'll set the doors, and then once the doors are set, there's some adjustments that will probably need to be made. And then after that, we'll foam it in and it's done and send it done. Okay, so now that we've got the door out, we've got our measurements. For the door to fit, we need 71.5. That's exactly what you have in the frame now. So I need 71.25 for when I set the frame. If there's any minor adjustments to the size that need to be made, I have room to do that. So what I'll do now is I'll take my planer, plane a 1/4 inch off the top of each side to get our opening correct. Basically what we're going to do now is, since we've got the opening planed, Ken's already checked the slab to make sure we're good as far as level if we need to shim the frame at all. Now what I'll do is I'll build the frame, we'll dry fit the frame to make sure we do have enough wiggle room on each end. And then once we dry fit the frame, we'll move it back out, we'll silicone the slab really good, we'll reset our frame, and then we'll tag it with lags. And then the next step will be putting the doors together. So, this is one of your side rails, okay, where the door hangs on to. And this will be the inside. The fat side's always on the inside of your house. So that'll be the inside, we're facing in towards the house. Always the fat side. This is your top piece, where the one door latches into. Of course, again, fat side facing in the house. Your bottom track, of course, this hole facing out away from the house, okay? As well as this will be the same, because this will be on the inside, so that's facing out. So that way those line up. And again, just your other side rail. You will have to insert your own rubber seals, which are these. And basically I find it easiest just to start one end in and then just kind of slide her on through. You'll have to do this for the top and the two sides. Stop at one end, you good there? Okay, and you just take your razor knife, cut this piece at the angle that you got right there, just like so. And you will have to do it to the two sides. You'll know which way's up and down when it comes to these, because the two hinges always are up. There's only one hinge at the bottom. These French doors, the weight's on the sides. The other folding doors, all your weight will be from the top, from your top rail, or your header. Come on, man. All right, now when you go, your frame should look something like this when you're gonna go put it together. Your top's up here, your bottom's down there. Double hinge up front for your top. In order to put the frame together, this part comes with a screw in the back. You go ahead and, I just go ahead and remove that completely, and it makes this wiggle. Makes it so you can move it. It also has a piece up top here that you just want to go ahead and take out. Okay, and then you go ahead and try to angle your frame in the best that you can, and making sure that all the pieces kind of line like something like so. and then you kind of make it fit. And then make sure you're perfectly square on all your edges. You're perfectly aligned. Then you take your screw. They don't like to stick on these, just so you know. Put it back in the hole. Kind of tighten it up just a little bit. Then you find your other screw right here. Making sure you're still pretty much lined up. Nice and tight, no gap. And then you go ahead and put it in your top hole here. Make sure you still stay square though, because sometimes it'll jump on you a little bit. Nice and tight. Just like so. Nice and tight. Basically where it doesn't move no more like that. You just repeat the process for the other side. Your bottom will go together with these screws. Little Phillips head. Again, these will not stick to your impacts. They'll fall off, so you just gotta try to work with it the best you can. You take your bottom track, make sure this is right here. Make sure it's gonna face up or out, whichever way you wanna do it. And this piece fits into this piece, like so. Then, the screw just barely makes it, so you don't wanna over tighten it or else it'll just spin. So you get it in there. Make sure you're flush at the bottom here with the frame. Okay, just like something like that. And then kind of go nice and easy, just like that. Just like that. Barely tighten. Now what we're gonna do is just dry fit our frame. Make sure we have enough room to fit. Okay, don't want to be too tight on the bottom.
They had to make some adjustments at the bottom because they need a little more wiggle room. That's why you do a dry fit.
On the doors, because of the weather and rain, you use a really expensive silicone caulking. And you put it underneath, plus after it dries, it seals it and it adheres it to the concrete.
All along the bottom. Then, once you're done doing that, if we notice it hasn't set up enough, we'll open the doors, pry up a little bit, fill it where it's not, and then reset it. So it seals all completely and all the way. All right, so basically what we're about to do now, we've got the frame in, we've got the underneath silicone, we've got the bottom threshold level. So we're about to go ahead and drill out some pilot holes so we can insert these lags into the frame. I don't use just regular screws. They're like little 5/16 head. They replace 3/8 inch lags. And that will go into our frame, into your trimmer, and your king stud. So there's no way this will ever come loose. Got the frame secured to the wall. Our next step is I'm going to stand up these doors, the two doors for Ken, so he can insert the hinges and get them kind of tight where they need to go. Once those are on, what we'll do is we'll take one door, we'll set it where it kind of needs to go. We'll have a airbag underneath it so we can pump it up to get the door to go up to where we need it, adjust it, and then drop it. Repeat the step on the second door, and then we'll move on to inserting the hardware, the handle, the lock, and any adjustments we need to make.
To install one of the hinges, it comes with a plate, small set screw, and 2 other screws. The door has little white marks. You clip it in. These 3-prong side goes towards the outside of the door.
On the metal lines need to be facing it.
That in. You take the center set screw and you put that in the center hole like that. That plate will tighten up with the center set screw, and then you can put in the other 2 screws. Just tight Don't tighten them a lot because sometimes you have to slide these up and down and adjust for them to fall onto the hinges on the door. So there, then the hinge is installed.
Basically, when you're inserting these plates, you want them to look like this, going into the frame, just like that. If these aren't facing towards you, the screws won't grip. So basically what we've done is we got the hinges inserted on this door. We've got our airbag to help pump the door up to get the hinges above the other hinges. So in theory, we should be able to drop the door down onto the hinges and it should be good. If not, there'll be some adjustments to be made. Just make sure.
This is to see my clearance level right here. I can see that I'm about a 1/4 inch below this part of the header, and the door should shut smoothly.
But then again, that's where adjustments can come into play. So now what he's doing is just making sure all of his hinges on his door are tight. And then what I also like to do is double check the hinges on the frame that come from the factory. Sometimes they're loose. This top piece, once the door is set, it should just only catch a little bit. If it does not, then you're gonna have to readjust, lower your door a little bit more so that it clears more. The only thing that should hit would be this piece, not this piece. It should only hit this piece a little
Sitting
bit.
right here.
So I'll have to now put the airbag back up, raise the door back up, lower the hinges so the door drops. All right, so basically, once you get all the adjustments done correctly on the door, you want to go ahead and close it. If anything, that top should hit just a little bit. You'll feel it or hear it just slightly, but you'll be able to close it all the way and then latch top and bottom.
Now that we know this door is at the correct height and spot, we have used our bag to pump this one up in order to adjust the hinges properly. Then you simply level across, make this one perfectly level with this one, adjust your hinges down, tighten them.
And in theory, they should close perfectly. Now that we've gotten the door hung to its theoretical proper position, I'm going to now go ahead and install the lock and the handle. That way we can test the door to make sure it's gonna close perfectly. So now what you're gonna do, we're gonna install the lock. It's got a little locking pin in here. You're gonna take a little Allen key, stick it in there. You're gonna wanna take it all the way out in order for this to go through the door. You need this off. Don't lose that because you'll need it. And what we'll do is we'll just put this right in the blocks or wherever you wanna set it. Take this back end off. Grab the keys that I just had. Inside the keys is a little screw. You're gonna wanna take that screw out. And then, of course, you're gonna want the locking part on the outside and insert it into the door like so. And you take the screw, put it in through this hole right here. Make sure it just kind of goes in nice and easy. As soon as it tightens, stop. We're gonna put the handle on the door. One of the handles has the holes on the inside, one of them does not. You're gonna take the handle, place it in the right direction, take your pin, put it in, then you're gonna take your door, and you're gonna insert it through here, like so. You take your other handle, adjust it the right way, like so. You put that in here, just like that. And take the bigger screws, put them in through the holes, like so. You can use a screwdriver or an impact if you're careful enough. Just nice and easy. Nice and snug. Feed it with the second screw. Alright, put that on there like so. Put that in the hole. one thing you do want to do is check the lock, just to make sure that it extends completely when you engage the pins. Because sometimes they won't. You'll have to readjust where the pin is. And you go like all the way. Now that the handle and the key lock is installed, you check your door to make sure it's going to shut properly, which it should. If the tops are lined up level, if everything's lined up level, it should just close like so and latch with the hurricane latches or your double locking pins. And that would be your door. Basically, this is just to stop the door from hitting the header and keep the header in place. So you want to add sometimes just one screw. Sometimes if you want or if you need, you can add two. Or if you want, you can add 1, 2, and 3. It just all depends on what you want to do. Now, because the opening was a little tighter in some spots, we're going to fill the door with foam. And then we'll close it, lock it, let it set up overnight so nothing moves, nothing shifts. And then in theory, the door should work beautifully for years to come.